changed in there. Now let's get to the shooting. Okay, what did I change in here? Okay, I changed up a lot of stuff in here. Now I'll put the ray up here so we can access it from any of these functions. The ray to aim the gun, which fires, which shoots when we aim the gun and we press the button. And of course we have the ray cast hit, which I put up here because we're going to need to access it for multiple functions now. Then we have the rocket prefab. This is the actual rocket we're going to shoot. We just drop our prefab right in here. And then we have the time, which I believe is time for the muzzle flashes, but you don't have to worry about that because it's going to set itself anyway. And then we have the temp point pause. Now this is a little complicated, but it only has to do with the shotgun, and you don't really have to mess with it, but I want to explain to you what it is just so you know. It's a vector 2D, vector 2, and it just carries an X and a Y position. Now when we first shoot the shotgun, we create a little circle so we can little 2D circle in front of the shotgun barrel so we can tell where to instantiate the bullet, and it picks a random spot to instantiate the bullet from, and it shoots 6 bullets, so it picks 6 random spots to instantiate the bullet. And what this is to stop the bullets from hitting each other when they first instantiate, because if they were to instantiate all at the same spot, they would just hit each other and then explode, and we don't want that. We want them to instantiate at different points in front of the gun and then spread out. And this is makes that little circle in front of the gun. Imagine this is the barrel right here, and it creates a little 2D circle, and then it picks random points on that 2D circle to instantiate the bullets, and then it creates the bullets, and the bullets spread out from here and shoot like that. And basically what it does is it just stops the bullets from hitting each other. But you don't have to worry about this or set it from the script. I just wanted to let you know how it works. Then of course we have the muzzle flash, which I went over in the last video. The initialize the shooting, stopping the errors and all that stuff. We just go over the new stuff. Let's go down. Okay, right here. I've changed this up a lot. Before in the update function we had a lot of stuff. Now first it calls the calculate fire rate. This calls the if we do have the weapon, which we will because the weapon class is going to give us the weapon. And first it's just going to get this, it's going to call this little function over here, calculate fire rate, and this controls how fast the gun will shoot. It just does a countdown timer, and then when the countdown timer gets to 0, it resets it to the cooldown. It says yes, we can fire the weapon, and then we fire the weapon, then it does it over again. Okay, let's go back to shooting, and it just calls that right there. See, we shoot the beam, aim the gun, and this is the online stuff. Let's go down. Okay, now if we press the mouse button, the left mouse button, yeah, okay, it detects what type of gun we're holding. If we're holding a handgun, it's just gonna regular fire. If we're holding a semi-automatic gun, it's gonna do the triple fire. And if we're holding a rocket launcher, it's gonna fire a rocket launcher. And then if we're holding a shotgun, it's just gonna fire a shotgun. And that's how it determines which way to fire. And as you can see, it calls it the weapon, which is the weapon class which we'll be holding, the weapon class script will be on the gun, and this will be on the main camera. And just to note, there's no way that you couldn't find a weapon class, because once we create the weapon using the character inventory system, it'll automatically, the shooting will automatically find this, because the weapon says we got the shoot component, and then it looks in the parent and it finds the shooting, and that's how we find a weapon. And it makes the shoot dot weapon this, and so it automatically will find a weapon. But just in case, it checks if we do have the weapon in the script. And now, okay, this is the auto fire. Now the auto fire works a bit different because we need to hold down the button, so we put it in the get key, and it says if we have the weapon dot fire type dot auto fire, then it just sets the weapon cooldown to 0. So you don't have to set the speed for the auto fire weapon. It's going to automatically set to 0.1 because it's an auto fire weapon. And then it tells it to fire the weapon. And let's see what else we changed. Well, I changed. We had the triple fire. We had the triple fire function, and all this does is for the semi-automatic gun. when we saw that when it shot them 3 bullets back to back. It just basically works by calling fire to weapon. If we can fire it, it calls fire to weapon, and then it waits a couple of seconds, resets it, and then it fires the weapon again, waits for a couple of seconds to resets it, fires a couple of weapons to resets it. I'm sorry, the time variable, that's what that's for. The time variable. It controls it, but it automatically sets it from the script, so again, you don't have to mess with it. But basically, that's how it works. It just fires the weapon, yield a couple of seconds, then fires the weapon again, yield a couple of seconds, then fires again, and that's basically it. Then we have this fire weapon. If we set it up to fire different types of weapons. Now, if you get confused or I'm not explaining this properly, this is all commented out, just so you know how it works. As you can see, every line is almost commented out, just because I may not be explaining it well or something like that. So you could just come through and look at the scripts and see how it's see how it is. Okay, what was I going over? Oh, I changed up a little bit of stuff in this. Checks the bullet and everything. Okay, now it checks if we're firing a rocket or a bullet. If we're not firing a rocket, it's just gonna fire the regular bullet prefab. If we are firing a rocket, it's gonna fire the rocket prefab, and you can see that there. And that's all I changed in that. And then we have the shotgun fire. Okay, first you can see that the shotgun fires 6 bullets. It goes through this loop right here and fires a bullet each time, and that's how it fires the 6 bullets. If you ever want to change how many bullets it fires, all you have to change is this number right here. And later on I'll make that a variable, but right now I was just trying to figure out how to make the shotgun shoot, so that's what I put right there. Okay, let's see what else we have. This is for the portal and everything, which we probably don't even need, because let's face it, you're not going to shoot a shotgun portal, and if you did shoot a shotgun portal, it probably would mess up and wouldn't work properly, so I don't recommend doing that. Okay, right here we get the temp point position, which is the spear. Which is the spear shotgun range. That was what I was explaining before when I said you can control the spread of the shotgun, how far the bullets go out. And this is how we create that circle, and it grabs a random point inside that circle and tell the shotgun that's where we're going to. And that's what controls how far the bullets go out when you shoot the shotgun. Like, how far away from the shotgun do they go? Do we want a very inaccurate shotgun or a very accurate shotgun? Okay, and this is the same thing but it controls when it instantiates it from the beginning. This controls where it instantiates it, and this controls where the bullet will end up at. And they're both vector 2. And what happens is, when I instantiate the bullet, I add the vector 2 onto the vector 3 through this function right here, and you can basically see. Just as a little note, I'll probably put this in tips and tricks later. You can't plus equal vector 3 to this instantiate right here when you instantiate bullets. And the reason why is because it'll use the world space. What you have to use is the transform direction, and then you plus a vector 3 on there, and it'll use the player space. So when you turn around or you rotate the character, it'll always shoot the same way. And this just gives it all the information it needs. Now right here, it's telling the bullet controller that it's a shotgun bullet, and that's because, as I went over before in my tutorials when I was going over realistic shooting versus how video games normally do it, that doesn't work with the shotgun. You can't just teleport the bullet to the target. What you have to do is you have to always use the video game type. The realistic way of type shooting. So when it's a shotgun bullet, it'll just let the bullet controller know, and it'll automatically just fire the weapon like in a realistic manner rather than a video game manner. And I believe that's it for the shooting. Now in the item class, I've just added this weapon fire type, and I went over this in before. Auto fire, 3 burst fire, which is semi-automatic fire, shotgun fire, handgun fire, and rocket fire. And you can basically set that from the script of which one you want to shoot. And the item class script doesn't go on a gun. The weapon class does, and we access this all this right here in the weapon class. And I believe that's it. Oh, sorry, the weapon class. Let's go over what we added new there. Now, this is here, the knockback damage. I haven't added that yet. I'm going to go over that later. But first, I'm going to make sure all this works online, because currently this system, I haven't tested online. It may work online or it may not. I got to test it out. But later on, you will want knockback damage for like when a rocket hits you and you want to knock the character back, or a shotgun hits you, you want to knock a fire row back. But I'm going to add that in later tutorials. This is the this is getting the class right here from the item script, the weapon fire class. That's how we get that in there. And then we have the rate timer. This isn't really important. The reason I left it public, so you can actually see how it's counting down in case you need to do little fixes. Only thing you need to worry about is the weapon cooldown, which controls how fast the weapon can fire, and then can fire weapon, which basically becomes true if the countdown is at 0, and then the weapon range controlling how far the bolts can go, and then the shotgun spear, which I went over before, the spread of the shotgun, and then the shooting script. It just has it right here, and then the beginning it gets the shooting script. Now it's important to note that the shotgun spear range, the spread, that's what I should name it, shotgun spread, but I named it shotgun spear range because I couldn't really think of nothing. But it should always be set to at least 1 and never 0. Now you might forget or something like that, so if it is 0, the script is going to automatically set it to 1, just in case you forget. Then we have it gets the shooting component, and it lets you know that this is the shooting that this is the weapon for the shooting component. That way, as soon as the weapon instantiates, it finds it immediately. Then we have this calculate the fire rate function, which basically is just a countdown timer. It counts down the time, and then it sets the time to the cooldown, and then it counts down the time to 0, and once it hits 0, it says yes, you can attack, and then it resets the time to the cooldown when you hit the button. And I believe that is it.
And if you like this video, please like and subscribe. And if you want to suggest a tutorial, please suggest a tutorial in the comments down below. Thank you for watching.